Welcome back to part 3 of, what did I even call this series? Arguing with idiots, torturing myself, responding to comments. Yeah, that was it. Although torturing myself was probably more accurate, it's nothing compared to what the animals go through, so I'll enjoy this one more time. Welcome to part 3 of responding to comments. I can't see why that would be important information for anyone other than people looking for an excuse as to why they don't want to make any changes. Yeah, of course I'll concede the point that if you go like for like, meat based products versus meat replacement products, they're always going to be more expensive for the moment. You talk about supply and demand all the time, well that's a perfect example of it. Obviously the supply for meat based products is far more than the demand for plant based products at the moment, and that's why you can go and buy 20 pork sausages for example for £1.50 from Tesco, whereas you can't get more than 6 plant based sausages for, I don't know, less than £2. That's something I will absolutely concede. However, that doesn't make veganism a luxury, because those are just certain products that at the moment, because of the market, are a little bit more expensive. So if you can't afford those, that doesn't mean that you can't eat. I'm sure that most people are already buying fruit and veg and cereal and pasta and things like that on their weekly shop. So it's just a case of stocking up more on those items and buying less of the meat-based ones and the animal-based products. Dairy's not cheap, and unless you're eating crappy processed meat, things like steak isn't cheap, a joint of meat isn't cheap. So people constantly say, I buy mine organic, or I go and get it from this place. Well, then you're paying good money for it, so money obviously isn't the issue. But on that note anyway, I always find it pretty ironic that it's always the people that aren't vegan that tell me how expensive it is. Come and do my shopping with me, because I've done it every week for the last 8 years, so surely I'm a better judge of what's expensive and what isn't than someone that's never done it. I'm not the best person to suggest cheap batch cooking recipes, but there are tons and tons and tons of people out there that make them. I am in the process of putting together a video which kind of addresses this a bit further, but it's certainly not a question of money. It really isn't. People always manage to find a money to smoke or to drink or to do any of the things that they want to, so don't blame money. It's just another excuse. So if there was any significance whatsoever in the fact that you were vegetarian, you would never have left that comment. So I can just basically disregard it and address the actual point, which I'm going to do so pretty bluntly, to be honest, because it's no different than personal choice. If anything, it's kind of the way that you've left it, it's worse than that. So let's look at it this way. I'm against child abuse, but I would never tell others to do so, as I believe in a person's right to choose. Do you understand how stupid it sounds now? That's all it needs. The fact that your screen name is Namaste and you're claiming to be vegetarian just makes this comment so much worse though, honestly. It's like both of those things are just words. Well, in fairness, at its simplest level, there isn't one. But it's not a fair comparison. For a start, the huge difference between the two is intent. However, if you're looking at the example you've listed, so the worm for soy, well, the vast majority of soy is actually fed to livestock. I've already done a video that will play in the background, I guess. This is a really silly argument. I never understand why people think this benefits them. The vast majority of plants that are grown in the world are being fed to animals that you're eating. So if there was an argument here, you're worse. You're killing twice as many. It's not just the fact that you're having animals slaughtered, it's the fact that insects and rodents and birds have to die to feed the animals that you're having slaughtered. Veganism is about doing the absolute best that you can. Obviously we don't choose this, we don't want this. If there was a way of growing crops completely cruelty free, then that's obviously what we would encourage and what we want. I think people need to recognise that as industries shift and work towards a more plant-based world, that all of these companies that make things like fertiliser and everything else will also have to shift. If everyone has a vegan mindset, this is something that gets forgotten. When you make these silly comments where you say, what about if everyone went vegan overnight? It wouldn't just be the food that changed. Everyone's mindset would change. So farmers wouldn't go out of their way to kill animals. Companies wouldn't go out of their way to invent pesticides or chemicals or anything else that destroy life, because everyone would have a different mindset. It wouldn't just be that they weren't eating them anymore. It would be that they wouldn't want to cause them any harm. That is the definition of veganism. So if everyone went vegan overnight, all these companies would also adapt and they'd make cruelty-free methods. Oh shit. How did he know that? Did you tell him? Well, someone must have told him. What, you want to answer? Are you going to do it properly this time? Because I mean last week. As long as you promise to take it seriously. Go on then.
Have you ever walked out of a mall into a huge parking area and realized you'd forgotten where you parked your car?
Just...
Do you believe in the power of a curse?
Yeah, I'm starting to, mate. I'm starting to know exactly what that feels like. Just do the line, please.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up.
Yeah, are you serious? Do you know how many things that we used to do before, or once upon a time, that we no longer do for whatever reason? You know, people used to go and see the seer. People used to consult the seer. People used to believe in a whole host of gods. People used to burn each other at the stake. They used to pillage and ransack villages. Like, are you serious? How is this a precedent? In fact, you know what? Fuck this. This needs a poem all by itself. And so I guess that concludes part 3. I'm off to write a poem. See you next time, everyone.